in the mail center, at the Washington Department of Licensing. They arrive by the thousands.
In a given month, we're getting between 10 and 15,000.
Each one of these is a purchase form for the sale of a handgun in Washington State. Gun dealers are required to send the forms to DOL.
And then we send them through our imaging machines.
Once the forms are scanned into digital images, the hard part begins.
We enter in the date.
DOL employees like Neil Lutterman
So we search by last name and first initial and also date of birth.
have to take the information from the digital image and enter it manually into a searchable database.
And then we enter in the pistol information.
Each of the tens of thousands of forms needs to be retyped into the database.
Well, the entire process is completely manual. For a really fast individual, it could take about 2 to 3 minutes.
This bottleneck has created a record system that is terribly inefficient for the criminal justice system. By August of this year, DOL's backlog grew to more than 525,000 pistol purchases waiting to be entered into the database, according to documents we received through a public records request.
And this is the all metal version.
That means that some handguns, purchased as far back as 3 years ago, are not properly recorded in DOL's records.
Having a good, robust, up-to-date system is really important to law enforcement and I think to public safety as well.
The executive director of the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs says the database is critical to police. For instance, officers check it to determine if they might face armed resistance while executing search or arrest warrants.
To have that information is a really important part of what we call a risk assessment.
There were 2 weapons in the purchase history.
In court, prosecutors and judges use the database to determine gun ownership in domestic violence cases and verify that the accused has surrendered all firearms to police as required after being served with a protection order.
You know, I think everybody agrees if a person has a protection order against them, if they're clearly so dangerous that a court has issued an order against them, there should be a good system to keep them from buying and possessing a firearm. A backlog really, works completely against that concept.
The backlog has been growing for years, with no action by state lawmakers until now.
Passed.
Last session, they quietly approved funding that could turn the mountain of paperwork into usable, searchable records.
If you need a solution that's faster, simpler, and smarter, look no further than iLinks.
The state has begun testing this state-of-the-art capture software.
What the software does is it reads the scanned document and it extracts the information on that document so that we can upload it into our database.
The manager of DOL's firearms program says employees won't need to spend 3 or more minutes on each form like they do now.
And this technology should reduce it to about 20 seconds, is what our estimates are.
But no one is guessing just how long it will take to bring these hundreds of thousands of records up to date.
I think it'll take some time. I mean, it's just the numbers are just large.
So that's a proposal. That system is not online yet. We calculated that with the current staff under the current system, it would take about 1.5 years to winnow this backlog down, 1.5 years just to do the backlog, not including the new records that are coming in every day. It took the legislature a long time to pony up the additional funding for that proposed solution, and that's because there are a number of lawmakers that don't like the idea of the government tracking firearm ownership. It's against the law for the feds to do that, and some lawmakers here think it infringes on the Second Amendment for Washington State to be doing it. So it has run into some opposition in the legislature.
Interesting. Chris, isn't it true, though, that this backlog has just sort of gotten bigger and bigger in the last few years? And why is that?
Yeah, that is absolutely correct. Gun sales have gone way up, especially during the Obama administration when people feared more gun control. I saw one report that said that Washington had the 3rd largest hike in gun sales of any state over the last few decades, so we're number 3 in that category. So it's no wonder that the Department of Licensing really can't keep up with the huge number of firearms that were being purchased.
Well, if that thing works, it would certainly cut that by a lot. I mean,
if it works and if they go for it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All
Sure.
right. Good to know.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Airport takedown. A new investigation looks at TSA